What's up? And welcome to the Think Like a White Man podcast. I am Kai, and I am so happy that you're here today. What's up? And thank you for listening to the Think Like a White Man podcast. We are officially 1 month into recording this podcast, and all I can say is I absolutely love this community. Y'all are straight up badasses, hardworking, ambitious, chasing big generational wealth type dreams, whether that is building the next Black-owned talent agency, whether that is the next Black-owned media production company, or the next billion-dollar business idea, even if it's pursuing your truest dreams and living your most authentic life. I love that. Keep fucking going. Today we are discussing how to focus on your unique talent and build a team around you that supports your goals, because success isn't a solo act. Growing up in Black households, we saw hyper-independence literally everywhere. It was ingrained in our families, modeled for us at a young age, and then reinforced everywhere throughout the world. We saw it in our fathers, the way that they carried the weight of responsibility, often without complaining at all. But we really felt it in our mothers and the other Black women around us. If you close your eyes, you can see your mother waking up, making breakfast for the entire family, rushing out the door, putting on the final touches for her outfit, rushing home to the chicken that you forgot to pull out of the freezer, cooking dinner while helping her friend through her marriage problems on the phone, while reaching over, signing your paperwork, double checking your homework to make sure that it's actually done well, helping your other sibling with the school project poster that is due tomorrow, while also making sure that you ate all of the food on your plate, and then making sure that you are all showered and in bed so that you can get a good night's rest. And all of that before she sits down for just 2 minutes alone in front of the TV before she goes to bed and wakes up and does it all over. And it's not just our mothers doing this, it's our grandmothers, it's our aunties, it's the women in pop culture, it's the Black women in history. Black women are superheroes. And when we're young kids, we actually admire this hyper independence. We celebrate it. And especially as young girls, we start to identify with the strong Black woman narrative. Because Black women have always carried more than their share and continue to make magic out of nothing. It's incredible. But from a young age, these examples actually shape us. They teach us that strength equals self-reliance. I know for me, I actually have a core memory of this happening when I was 4 years old. And I remember like it was literally yesterday. I was working on a project, and I don't even remember what project this was, but all I know is that I was struggling and I needed some help. So I did what kids typically do. I stood up, I looked for a teacher. I found my teacher. Her name was Miss Jill. And I called my teacher's name. I was like, "Hey, Miss Jill." And she didn't respond to me. And I called her name again, and I was like, "Hey, Miss Jill." No response from her again. So I tapped her on her shoulder. I was like, "Hey, Miss Jill, I need some help." She turned around, her eyes looking so scary, and she snapped at me and said, "Kai, I can't help you right now." Ugh, poor baby Kai. So sad. And those words hit me like a bus. I was so embarrassed. I was so mortified. I actually ended up running away and hiding in a shelf. So dramatic. I think I cried for like 2 seconds. And right there in that moment, I made a decision. And you know what I said to myself? I won't ever ask for help again. I will figure it out by myself. At 4 years old. And was this Miss Jill's fault? Was this my teacher's fault? No, I am notorious for calling people's name numerous times, just thinking that they're not hearing me and that I need to speak louder. And being older now, looking back, I know that she was just probably overwhelmed or preoccupied. And in fact, I think she was actually helping another student at that time, and it just didn't click in my head that she was busy. But that didn't matter to me then. That moment didn't create the belief that I should be hyper independent. It just cemented the belief that I should be hyper independent. The belief that self-reliance wasn't just a good thing, but in fact, it was the only way. And from 4 years old forward, I told myself I was going to do it on my own, and I am not going to be a person that asks for help. How many moments like this have you had? Those moments that told you to push through, that you can't depend on anybody, that you can figure it out, that it is better for you to do it than to ask for help, to become hyper independent. And in a classic Think Like a White Man podcast way, let's take some time to compare this experience to our friend Chad. For those of you who don't know, Chad is the name that we use to represent the white YT man. He is every man that you have met who has broken the rules and gotten rewarded for it, who grew up with all of the privileges to move freely in his life, taking risks, having blind confidence, and feeling comfortable asking the world for what he wants without hesitation and knowing he's gonna get it. Chad had an upbringing that taught him something very different from self-reliance. In fact, Chad's experience is actually growing up watching his family afford help, hire help, and lean on help. And when we get older, that difference in how we were raised starts to show. It starts to show in how we navigate life, but also in the ways that we really start to struggle in as well. Okay, picture this. Imagine being in college, being in grind mode, and studying for the hardest upcoming test for your class, right? No study group, no test bank. You're doing this all on your own, not even with the help of Adderall. Sitting there, thinking that this is the way that it's supposed to be done, grinding alone and studying to pass the test. Why? I remember being in college, locked in my apartment, locking myself in my residence hall, locking myself in the library, grinding and studying. I would be reading 600-page textbooks from beginning to end. I would be handwriting every single flashcard and then studying those, walking around with all of my textbooks, breaking my back with my 200 flashcards that I had handwritten, and I'm pretty sure I'm wearing Band-Aids at this point because my hands are raw, because I thought that that's how you do college. You grind, you push through, you figure it out. I was a pre-vet biology student until my junior year before I decided to completely switch my degrees. And at one point, I had to learn how to memorize 250 animals just by looking at their skulls and skeleton. And I would literally take animal skulls to my apartment, sit down and look at them, trying to identify, is this a rat, is this a mouse, or is this a vole? For literally 8 hours, and I would be in tears trying to figure this out all by myself every single weekend. And that was just one class. And did you know that Chad and his frat bros didn't even have to work this hard? They have entire folders of previous test answers that previous frat bros have taken from that class in that professor for literally previous semesters. And the crazy thing is that we know that this camaraderie mindset has started even before college. They had private tutors. They were taking the learning programs from Sylvan, the ads that I only saw on TV. And in the summers, they were taking vocational summer camps and going to boarding school and learning even more. And then they were having play dates from such a young age that are essentially little baby networking events. It's crazy. They aren't doing it the hard way. They haven't been doing it the hard way. Sheesh, they are barely even doing it. Sorry, not sorry. They are working together and they are helping each other. And it doesn't stop after college. They continue this entire mindset. They're going to the country clubs. They're going to the secret societies. They are helping each other get into jobs, get promoted, make more money. And meanwhile, we are doing everything the hardest way with no fucking support. You need to start thinking like Chad, not because the world is always going to have your back, because it won't. And again, this is not your fault. This is a systemic issue. But you need to start thinking like Chad so that you can have success without killing yourself in the process. You have to realize that not only do you not have to do everything alone, but you actually can't do everything alone. You don't have to carry everything by yourself. And in fact, most successful people don't. AKA, what would Beyonce do? AKA, what would Drake do? And let's admit it, asking for help is hard. Sometimes it feels like admitting that we can't handle it on our own. And so it feels like giving up or that we are inadequate. Or it feels even worse, like losing control over our own success. And it is just so scary because if other people are involved or we have to rely on other people, we can't control the outcome in the same way. Relinquishing control and asking for help is so hard. But the reality is hard work isn't what gets you success. If that was the case, then we would see that the hardest working people would be the people with the most money, the most power, the most freedom, and the most success. But that's not how this world works. If we think about the most successful people right now, we're thinking Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos, right? Are they the hardest working people? They could never have gotten to where they were if they did not get help. Help in the form of employees, help in the form of financial investments, help in the form of money to be able to reinvest. Okay, now I'm getting heated. We cannot let the fear of asking for help, the fear of relinquishing control, and the fear of having success anxiety isolate us and keep us from holding us back. Real success takes a team. Ask yourself, what would Beyonce do? She's not making all of her beats. She's not writing all of her own songs. She's not choreographing all of her tours. She's not booking studios, coordinating the videography teams. She's not editing her music, doing her taxes, and running the empire that she has built all by herself. She literally couldn't do it. And I could go on and on and on, but you get the point. She's not doing it all by herself. And it's not just Beyonce. Venus and Serena Williams had their dad. Tiger Woods had his dad. I have my dad and my boyfriend helping me with every podcast. I have an entire community of people, including you, telling me to keep going, telling me to stop letting my fears holding me back from putting out this podcast, any type of content I've ever created. I am getting help. So here's what I want you to do to actually understand this for yourself. We are going to talk through an exercise that is really going to allow you to see all of this shit that you are currently doing on your own right now. And then from there, we're going to identify where are the areas where you need the most help so that you can focus most of your time on the things that you're actually good at and get help on the things that you need help on. Okay, imagine this. You are the CEO of You Incorporated, and you are responsible for every single aspect of your life. That is your career, that is your health, that is your finances, that's your relationships, literally every single function that keeps your life running. If you were a company, this would be the equivalent of building out an org chart for your actual life. It's a pretty cool exercise. And right now, you're probably the CEO, the manager, the tax accountant, HR, literally every single employee that you can think of. And if you wanted to be in peak health, you have a nutritionalist, you have a gym trainer, and you have a chef that makes food based off of what the nutritionalist says. If you want to be in peak sleep, you have a sleep specialist. And if you want financial freedom, because period, yes, that's the goal, there's an investment strategist, a tax planner, and a budget analyst. Here's the real hard question. Does every single one of them actually have to be you? Obviously, there are some rules that you do have to play right now. Like if you don't have a chef, you have to cook your own meals or you're going to starve, right? And if we don't have a financial planner, we're managing our own money. And that's fine. That's where we are right now, right? That's the reality. But at the end of the day, not every one of these roles should be yours forever. Because what would Beyonce do? She would find people who are really good at each of these things and bring them into her life to help her out. Some of these things are actively draining your time and your energy that would be better used doing something else in your life. Some of these things you're not even good at, but you're like forcing yourself to do it because you have to, right? And some of these things we're doing because we've never considered that we didn't have to be doing these things. Now that you've written down all of the things that you have to do as the CEO of You Incorporated, I want you to go through that list and circle all of the things that you're good at and all of the things that you love to do. Those are going to be the things that energize you and bring happiness into your life instead of draining you. And after doing that, now look at the rest of your list. What is left? Those are the things that you're going to need to eventually delegate or offload in your life. Those are going to be the things that just take you way too much time because you're not good at, that pull your energy in the wrong direction and suck the life out of you, making you incapable of doing all the other things that you have to do. Or those are just going to be the things that you like blatantly don't have the skill set for, right? And that's totally okay. Why is this important to do? Because people waste so much of their time and stay in survival mode when they are forcing themselves to do things that they are not good at, when honestly, they just shouldn't be doing it at all. You have to build your team, even if it's literally just one step at a time. And that could take years you have to get to, right? In the short term, you have to do some of these tasks in order to survive and keep your life going, right? What we need to start doing is having a mindset shift so that in the long term, we can begin to set up our lives and structure our lives to be able to afford that support down the road. And in our past episodes, we talked about the importance of using your 9-to-5 to invest in you, right? And so if you have a 9-to-5 right now, you should be investing in ways to buy back your time. Cut out one of those happy hours, cut out girls' brunch, cut out ordering one of those pairs of shoes that you've been eyeing for literally weeks now, and get serious about investing in yourself. Start building your team. You're probably not going to be hiring a full squad for your life right now. But if you know where your strengths are, you know what your weaknesses are, and you know where you want to go, then you can start being intentional, my favorite word, about where you can start to invest in support. And I promise you that the sooner that you stop trying to do everything yourself, the faster you are going to grow. Success is literally not about doing it all yourself. Success is about doing what you can do and getting support for the rest. So to conclude this episode, what would Beyonce do? What would Kendrick do? They would find incredible people to partner with and build together. And then they would use the extra time they have to be with their friends, be with their family, or refine their craft. And when you start thinking about this now and seeing it all actually in front of you, you start to realize that this is not as far away as you might originally have thought. It takes having the vision and then executing that vision one baby step, one day at a time. Cheers to the last week of Black History Month, and I am manifesting by next February that we are all building towards our life-changing goals for Black excellence. But until then, I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Think Like a White Man podcast. You can catch a new episode every Tuesday. And if you don't want to miss any of the action, please follow. I want to be able to hear from you, so please leave a review, leave a star rating. I want to know your thoughts. And if you want behind the scenes on seeing a Black corporate woman baddie struggling and trying to find balance, please follow me on It's Kai Denise on Instagram and TikTok.